be getting started in just a couple minutes. Please feel free to look at the slides and we'll be getting started at 12:30. Hello, everybody, and welcome back for another Hub 101. Today we are excited to have you all here. It is Tuesday, May 16th. Beautiful day outside. My name is Janelle Martin.
And I'm Imani Moore.
As some of you may be familiar with ACT already, ACT is a backbone agency for collective impact, serving a network of nonprofit, faith-based, public and private member organizations. As part of ACT, the Austin Community Hub is a safe space to intentionally and thoughtfully engage disconnected families and individuals in collaboration with our member base to securely connect them with resources such as housing, holistic services, counseling, and much, much more.
Yep. Thank you, Janelle. Part of these services include informing our community members about the different organizations we work with and the great resources and programs that they have to offer. So we created Hub 101.
This month, we're joined by Austin Eats, an initiative born out of Austin's Quality of Life Plan, whose mission is to synergize the efforts of organizations already trying to improve Austin's food access ecosystem. This group and its partners are able to offer free emergency food through food pantries and delivery services, options to purchase healthy food through farmers markets, such as and culinary entrepreneurship businesses, food education through film showcases, and much, much more.
Great. And now we will begin with the presentation from three incredible ladies involved with Austin Eats: Dearra Williams, Grace Cooper, and Cindy Schneider. And we will then have a chance for any questions after the presentation, so feel free to drop any questions inside the chat. And ladies, the floor is all yours. Take us away, please.
Thank you, Amani and Janelle, for the great introduction. We're excited to do Hub 101 today. My name is Grace. I'm the project specialist at Austin Coming Together, and I'll pass it to my two co-presenters.
Hello, my name is Dearra. You can call me Dee. I work at Austin Coming Together as the executive assistant and operations lead, and I'm also the co-chair for Community Narrative Task Force.
And hi, I'm Cindy Schneider. I live and work in Austin as an architect and urban planner, and I'm the founder of the Austin Garden Collective, which is a group that unifies and serves Austin's community gardens.
Get started with Dearra.
All right, thanks, Grace. Like I said before, hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today to learn more about the Austin Eats initiative. I'm super excited to have you. Also want to thank the Hub team for putting on this Facebook Live to learn more about AE. Like I said before, my name is Dearra Williams. I was born and raised in the Austin community since the late 90s. I work with Austin Coming Together as a marketing coordinator in 2020, came back last year as an executive assistant operations lead. So I'm super excited to get started here with you. So wanted just to share a little bit of my background before we get into the details of Austin Eats and just my story. So growing up on the west side of Chicago in the late 90s, my family was very conditioned to seek food resources outside of the neighborhood. So usually we'll go to Joel Osco in River Forest or Dominic's in Oak Park. So even though my grandmother was an active gardener, that still kind of instilled with me the importance of fresh fruits and veggies and how to implement those things into my life at a young age. So even though we were consistently growing our own foods in our backyards, I honestly cannot remember living by or passing by a full grocery store in Austin when I was growing up. But one thing I do remember very vividly is my grandfather taking my sister and I on Wednesdays only to a corner store on Central and Chicago Avenue to grab some of our favorite snacks. And I remember some of them being like zebra cakes, Sour Patch Kids, anything to satisfy our small little sweet tooth. However, when it came to our family grocery shopping trips, we got into our cars and traveled, like I said, to Dominic's and Whole Foods and other stores like that. So back then, of course, I didn't really see that it was a problem. So I was a kid just trying to get food with my mother. But now that I've been back working in Austin, living in Austin from the suburbs, it's been a shock to me, and it has built some anger, some curiosity, and a lot of different emotions from the difference from living in the burbs and living in Chicago. So I'm just super excited to tell you all about all of the great things that Austin Eats has been doing within the past 2 years. So let's get into just a little bit of Austin 101, some background about Austin and why we're doing this and how we're addressing these issues. So Austin is one of the largest communities by area in Chicago, with the third largest population with nearly 97,000 residents. And because Austin is such a huge area geographically, we have smaller neighborhoods such as North Austin, South Austin, Galewood, and others that are uniquely connected. Austin is a predominantly Black neighborhood. However, accordingly to some of the recent data, we have about a 5% increase in the Latino community, creating more opportunities for diversity. Our history is so rich and it's filled with so many stories from our community members and residents who helped develop Austin piece by piece. Not to mention, we have some of the finest attractions in the city of Chicago. So we have our beautiful Columbus Park, which provides not only peace and relaxation whenever I walk over there, but it provides programs for children to get active and creative throughout the year. Or how we utilize Austin Town Hall to hold and create space for the community. So we are going to take a little pause here for a question. So where do you currently shop for most of your groceries? A, Austin grocery stores, B, Oak Park / River Forest grocery stores, C, delivery like Instacart, or D, other.
You can just drop these answers in the chat.
Yes. Right. So my community has some of the greatest assets in the city of Chicago. However, historically, Austin has suffered from disinvestments and a lack of support, which has resulted in many social and economic challenges. Because of these social and economic challenges in my neighborhood, Austin residents simply cannot afford healthy foods and resources, wellness that can be working out as well. And they have to purchase whatever they can to feed their families. Especially since the COVID-19 pandemic began in 2020, many families are still suffering from unemployment, job loss, and also healthcare medical bills. And because of the lack of grocery stores and other resources, many of our streets are filled with small convenience stores and food markets that are packed with aisles of endless candy selections and processed foods that our community can pick from. With the continued rise of disproportionate access to healthy foods and resources from our neighborhoods, close neighborhoods like Oak Park and other neighborhoods like that, Austin residents are more likely to experience worse health outcomes, including life expectancies and compared to our white Chicagoans. While driving around my neighborhood, I usually see many high school students, middle school students stopping by these small corner stores before school and grabbing snacks to last them until the end of their days. And I want to remind you that obesity has played a major role in the health of kids in Chicago, where 36% of the city's high school students and 61% of adults in the Chicago area are overweight or obese. So like kind of comparing the previous slide to this slide, you can definitely see the huge difference between Austin's food market, convenience stores, liquor stores, compared to Oak Park / River Forest full service grocery stores. Even though Austin has full service grocery stores, suburban stores usually create a more positive experience that keep people coming back. From large selections, from even the lighting and the spacious of the rooms in the grocery stores are a lot different than Austin. And then you can see that the options are definitely endless. You can get all types of things from everywhere in these grocery stores. So in addition to that, suburb stores usually have nice perks like coffee shops and fresh juice, smoothie bars, and even to-go food sections for those who need food during their lunch hour, which usually, promotes a more motivating people to travel to these stores so they can have these nice perks. So I even get motivated to, try new meals because of the endless options in these grocery stores. And I would just love to have those type of experiences within my own community than having to travel to others. So now I'm going to travel to and pass it over to Cindy to talk more about Austin's grocery store landscape. Thanks, Cindy.
Thanks, Dearra. Hi again, I'm Cindy Schneider with the Austin Garden Collective. And like Dearra, seeking out healthy food and learning how to bring more of it into my diet is part of my story. So in 2017, I became sick and hit a breaking point when I was experiencing migraines on a daily basis. I wasn't able to take care of my kids. I wasn't able to work in the ways that I wanted to. However, I decided not to give up and I advocated for my health and I didn't just accept things as they were. So I discovered that my sickness was related to food sensitivities. As a result, I had to educate myself. I had to start reading every label and completely change the way that I shop and cook and eat. I had to cut out things that are perfectly good for other people, like bread and cheese, and also things that kind of affect all of us, like processed foods and sugar. So for those of you who are struggling with food choices and how it affects how you feel from a day-to-day basis, I want you to know that it is possible to change the way you eat and to feel better. So it's sometimes difficult when you see someone eating something, especially there's so much good food around us and you're like, why can they eat that and I can't? But we're all built differently and we all need to figure out how to take care of ourselves best so that we can be around for our loved ones and for the long haul. So we at Austin Eats are working to provide educational resources and a variety of healthy food choices in Austin and for Austin so that we can all do this. So to explain this further, I want us to start by looking at this map on the screen of grocery stores in Austin. So this doesn't include the corner stores or the mom and pops, but only the full service grocery stores that have meat, seafood, produce, frozen foods, and shelves of products. So the gray dot, kind of in the top middle, indicates the Save a Lot that was closed a couple of years ago, and which we hear is about to which is maybe slated to reopen as a Market Fresh Foods. So if you go to the next slide, it shows full service grocery stores in Oak Park and the eastern edge of River Forest. So many Austinites, like Dearra said, shop here if they can get there and can afford the higher prices, because the quality of the shopping experience and the variety of food choices is much better. But what is wrong with this picture? So clearly in this little section of Oak Park and River Forest, the options are plentiful, varied, and high quality. Pete's Fresh Market is even opening up a second store in Oak Park, just 1 mile from their original Oak Park store. So if you're not feeling a little upset by this and wanting to see food justice, let me show you the next slide and see if that does it. So to understand why this is especially important for Austin, I just want to highlight the life expectancy disparity that we see between Austin and neighboring Oak Park, just across the western border of the city. So Austinites shop in Oak Park and ultimately spend 85% of their disposable income in Oak Park. Meanwhile, the difference in life expectancy between the two communities is notable. On the average, a 10-year difference as shown by this map. So if you look at the line between the orange and the green that separates Oak Park from Austin, and then you look at the key that kind of explains what the life expectancy for each of these areas is. You see in Austin that the life expectancy is maybe 65 to 75 years old, in various parts. But then if you go over to Oak Park, you see that that jumps up to 77 and a half to, let's see, we've got 82 and a half. So it's quite a bit of a difference. And it's just, and the difference is this line that clearly separates these two areas. So if we go to the next slide, at Austin Eats, our partners are working hard to advocate for food justice in our community. So we've helped support 2 new modest grocery options in Austin. So there's the City Market at Austin Town Hall, and then Austin Harvest by the Hand Club. So those are both shown in red on the map. We work with 40 Acres to try and get their brick and mortar store running on Chicago Avenue. And so that's a couple years out, but it's moving forward. We advocate and meet with politicians to try and get more grocery options in Austin. We support emergency food programs to help get healthy food into the hands of those who can't afford to travel to Oak Park or even Austin's grocery stores. And we're working to expand access to healthy food in Austin so that residents can make an educated choice and don't need to accept just what we currently have, because what we currently have is not just. And now I'm going to hand it over to Grace, who's going to give you some more background on the Austin Eats initiative.
Thank you so much, Cindy and Dearra, for sharing your stories and giving us some really good context. So Austin Eats, we've been talking about Austin Eats. What is Austin Eats? We say what we do, but what is this? Austin Eats is a collaborative of over 20 committed partners that are working together to promote healthy food choices across Austin. So these 20 partners could look like residents, nonprofit organizations, businesses, like food businesses, service providers, anyone in the neighborhood who's working on food justice, food equity. So this collective formed during the COVID pandemic when people were starting to come together to address food insecurity in a much bigger way. We know the pandemic illuminated a lot of disparities and problems in the neighborhood and everywhere, and food access was a really big one. So these conditions, created the opportunity for us to really coordinate and formalize what we were doing under this banner of Austin Eats. So how we operate and organize ourselves is in 5 different working groups. That's Gardens and Farms, Grocery Access and Culinary Entrepreneurship, Emergency Food Access, Food Education, and Marketing. So we have these 5 working groups because we want to address food justice at a variety of different angles. So we don't want to just work on food pantries. We don't want to just be doing gardening. But if we're really going to change the food ecosystem in Austin, we have to approach it from a variety of different angles. So in this presentation, we're going to get through all these working groups and just share some partners and projects and things that are moving and grooving in each of them. But before we get to that, I want to mention again that Austin Eats is a part of the Austin Quality of Life Plan, which is called Austin Forward Together. This is a community plan that was created with the input of over 500 stakeholders over an 18-month period. It's really just a roadmap for how to improve the quality of life in Austin by listing different goals and strategies and ideas for how to achieve those goals in these 7 issue areas, which are community narrative, economic development, education, housing, public safety, youth empowerment, and civic engagement. And Austin Eats lives under community narrative in the health and wellness strategy. So this initiative is a part of even a larger vision for Austin. Here, just wanted to show who we have in Austin Eats. We have a really diverse and strong group of partners that, again, are addressing food insecurity and food access from a variety of different angles. And it's just amazing to have everyone come together to work together on this. Now we want to play a clip from a larger documentary about the quality of life plan. But this clip focuses on Austin Eats and gives you a chance to see, hear from the voices of some of our partners and see what they're doing. And this came out in 2021. So here we go.
When I was a kid, my mother, she would give us some money to go to the grocery store. I had 6 grocery stores that I could walk to. By the time I got to high school, there was 1.
Studies have been done of the city of Chicago and other communities where the rate of death is higher in communities without access to healthy food.
There's so many stores like this that are really beneficial to the community. They are closing down the only resources that we actually have, and the community members have no say in it whatsoever.
People are dying at a higher rate and at younger ages in Austin. And so many health issues can be traced to the food we eat and the lifestyles that we live.
This area has been totally transformed to create a park in the middle of Chicago. We got chard. We got Swiss chard. Oh, I love Swiss chard. How do we give our community a facelift? The way South Austin Neighborhood Association began to address that was by creating gardens. This is good. I could eat this.
The Austin Eats initiatives, which was birthed out of the fallout from COVID. COVID illuminated so many disparities in a community, and food access was one. So all of these different groups came together to say, hey, we're going to team up and create a partnership amongst each other to be able to provide access to food.
It's important that we're getting food in that can be provided to people, but what type of food, how does it get produced, and how does it get distributed is important as well.
Come on, guys, let's bow in a word of prayer because we're gonna have to get our traffic control set up.
So today is our weekly food pantry. We probably feed about 400 families every week. This allows us to help those that are in need.
Another box.
Faith-based community organizations, those are our anchors. They've just been phenomenal in being a consistent presence, whether it be through ministry or, again, food access.
We're gonna touch somebody that really needs something today. You can't tell by how you see them, only God knows.
Thanks for watching that. Oh, oops. Okay, now we'll go through each of the working groups and just give you guys some more details on what's going on. So Cindy will kick us off.
Okay, so I serve as facilitator for the Gardens and Farms group, and Austin has a long history of community gardens and smaller urban farms, including the PCC farm and Glenart Farm, which is Chicago's only dairy. All in, there are 25 community gardens and farms in Austin, and our community gardeners are just some of the amazing activists in our neighborhood. So in 2019, we started the Austin Garden Collective, which was also a result of the Quality of Life Plan, to help support and connect the gardens to each other and to resources. So we host meetups for the community gardeners. and so that they can share resources and opportunities and find ways to work together. So in this map here, it may be a little bit hard to see on your screen, but that gives you an idea of the gardens and farms that are spread across Austin. So most of these are community gardens. Some of them grow mostly vegetables. Some of them grow are more ornamental, but they're all kind of organized and run by community members. So on the next slide, we have some pictures from Austin Garden Collective's Volunteer Saturdays, which we sponsor at various community gardens from June to August. And so, you can see in these pictures from these work days that we get a variety of people. We dig in the dirt. And so basically every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., we meet at a different community garden. The next slide has our schedule for the Volunteer Saturdays for the 2023 season. So they're for all ages and abilities, where people, can really get to know their neighbors. So we provide refreshments and tools, and all you need to do is bring yourself. So if this is something that you might be interested in taking part of, or if you know of a community group that would like to volunteer with us one Saturday, then you can visit our website at austingardencollective.com. So it looks like the left part of your screen there, and there's also a little button that you can click to RSVP and let us know that you're coming. So finally, on the next slide, I wanted to share with you some of the ways that Gardens and Farms of Austin are supported by the Austin Eats initiative. So this year, it is helping to support our Volunteer Saturday programming. In the past, we were able to provide funding through the Austin Fresh Grant to assist with the construction of the new Mildred Wiley Horticultural Garden at Bethel New Life's campus. So this garden was built in the northeast part of Austin, which had no existing community gardens, and serves a range of ages from daycare children to seniors, with programming provided by Windy City Harvest. On an ongoing basis, we also invest in other new gardens, revamp dormant gardens, and help support operational gardens across the neighborhood. Austin Garden Collective is also working with NeighborSpace, Chicago's community garden land trust, to generate events and build projects that will better connect the gardens with each other and the larger community. So now I'm going to hand it off to Grace to talk about some of the other working groups.
Thanks, Cindy. So I'm going to be talking about grocery access and culinary entrepreneurship. And I wanted to start with another question that you can answer in the chat. So when you're going to pick a grocery store, what factors are important to you? So what things do you look at? Is it the distance? What's available? What things do you consider when you pick a grocery store? Okay, so this working group really focuses around supporting healthy grocery options, opening up in Austin and becoming sustainable, and also supporting culinary entrepreneurs. So I'm just going to highlight a couple of our partners and what they've been working on. So there is 40 Acres Fresh Market. This is going to be a full service grocery store. As Cindy mentioned in the beginning, in the coming years, we'll be opening up on Chicago Avenue. 40 Acres is partnering with West Side Health Authority to open this grocery store. And it will be able to provide high quality and affordable food to Austin residents. So while that store is still under development, 40 Acres runs the farmers market in Austin. So there's the city market at Austin Town Hall. And this market focuses on supporting the healthy produce ecosystem in the community by expanding the number of local vendors, customers, and activities at the farmers market. This is a core project of Austin Eats, which means we put a lot of effort into supporting this. We all try to go attend. We try to spread the word. We try to help generate ideas for how to improve the farmers market. And it's just a really great asset for the Austin community. And we're excited that there's a new market manager this year who's really great and is working really hard to bring more vendors and activities. So definitely encourage everyone to come check it out. It will open the second Thursday of June, which I believe is like the 8th. I might be wrong on that, but the second Thursday of June through October, through the end of October, it'll be 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Every Thursday at the Austin Town Hall Park. Next up, we have the Austin Community Food Co-op. So this group wants to address food insecurity by offering a member-owned full-service grocery store. So they're still in the early stages of development. They've been engaging the community on the benefits of food co-ops and building out the steering committee. But this year, they're actually going to be producing a food literacy web series. So it'll be a film or like an online web series with like cooking demos, topics on co-ops, things like that. So that'll be a great online resource. And then lastly, we have Austin Harvest, which Cindy also mentioned earlier. This is a youth-led grocery market by students at By the Hand Club. They've been under construction recently in order to improve their space. So it's not just outdoor, it'll be like an indoor facility and be able to run during the colder months. And that'll be reopening in the fall. So also stay tuned for a exact reopening date, but we're really looking forward to that project growing. So just bringing back up the map that we saw earlier where it has the red points for the Austin Eats grocery options. Also 40 Acres is not on here because it's not open yet, but it'll be on Chicago Avenue. So just kind of highlighting that the grocery options that we are supporting are in the center of Austin, where you see the other full service grocery stores that are sort of on the edges. So also trying to fill that like geographic gap of healthy food options. Okay, next up, I'm going to talk about emergency food access. So this working group is comprised of about 8 emergency food providers who service the Austin area. So these food providers range from at-home delivery to like in-person or brick and mortar food pantries to even like pop-up food giveaways. So it's really great to have all of them come together and just be aware of what everyone else is doing so that we can support and fill in different gaps with emergency food. We're also able to get a lot of information about these opportunities and put them on a monthly flyer that outlines these opportunities for residents to access food through these partners. So one partner that I want to highlight is Jehovah Jireh, which is led by Pastor Jody. You can see in the top right photo. So they have a food pantry. It was previously only a mobile food pantry in that van, really able to be very mobile and get around to different areas to pass out food, which is great. But with funding through the Austin Fresh Grant, they're able to open up a storefront on Chicago Avenue and have an actual physical pantry with refrigeration and couches, and it's a great space. So they give out hot meals about twice a month. They service 80 to 100 families a week with giving out grocery bags. And a really great part about this is that they've been able to use food as a tool to build relationships and connect people with other services that they might need. They might come in definitely needing food, but they might need something else, and then they can communicate that, and it's kind of like a hub for referring people to other things they need as well. So here just wanted to show an example of our flyer. It lists all our different partners. So it's just some that we have is Beyond Hunger, Hope Church Food Pantry, Circle Urban Ministries, Grace and Peace Church, What About Us Charitable Enterprises. We also include on here the Chicago Food Depository Find Food tool on their website, where you can just put in your address and find pantries around you, because we know there are many more as well. And we also have Bethel New Life Wellness Office on here. They're able to connect people with like SNAP benefits and other food related benefits. So yeah, this flyer is updated every month. Definitely subscribe to the ACT newsletter if you want to get this flyer every month, and also be notified when some of those other grocery options like Austin Harvest, the Farmers Market, and 40 Acres are open and operating. So that is a good way to stay informed. I'll now pass it to Dearra.
Thank you, Grace and Cindy, for all the information that you all just shared. So I wanted to just switch gears to talk a little bit about the Food Educational Working Group. So one thing we believe that it's never too late to change habits. So we just need educational resources, accountability, and support for our community and those around us, and also a sense of vulnerability. So to be able to open up about some of your health habits and being able to, pinpoint some of the things that you need to change and able to kind of build that together. So something similar to like Cindy, that happened in 2020 for myself, forcing me to get rid of dairy and meat as well. So like I needed that support system to help me, and also just education to see how to eat vegan and how to remove those specific things out of my everyday diet. And also when we are taught at a young age the importance of fruit and veggies while in school, but however, many adults are suffering from many diet-related diseases. And of course, there are many attributes that tie into that. But we believe that having available information on how to choose a healthy diet can assist with those issues. So to kick off our food educational piece, for the last couple of years, One Earth Collective and other AE partners has hosted 2 virtual and in-person film screening events at community spaces that focus on healthy food and healthy habits. So one of the first films that we was able to show in our community was called Soul Food Junkies, and it still kind of like stays in my brain, which was about the relevance of Black culture identity and soul food, and kind of like our health risks with all of that, the culture that we kind of brought up with soul food. So after the film, we had Chef Michelle Scott, the CEO and founder of Thank God for Healthy and Raw Vegan Treats, did a live vegan food demo for the audience. So folks were able to sample some great vegan potato salad while leaving the event. And also we had printouts of vegan recipes for the audience to take home and cook on their own. And then we also, many of our film screenings, we had discussions also. So not only are we tasting this great vegan food, getting recipes that we can use, but now we can actually talk about how we feel about, soul food, or how we feel about changing our diets and our habits and what's stopping us, how we can best support each other. So just building that community within. So along the movie presentations, we request that the Austin community participants fill out food surveys as well. So this was done to gain more insights about their food preference and their habits, and identifying ways in which we can assist them in modifying some of their eating habits and how we can best support. So not just like leaving everything here in the film screening, but also building that relationship so we can continue to kind of grow together in these new ways. So let's answer something else in the chat. How do you hear about events in the community? What are the best ways to reach you with information and resources? Is it email? Is it social media? Is it a flyer, word of mouth, friends, family? So how do you hear about things that are happening within your community? Answer in the chat, please. Thank you. All right, so marketing. So we have our marketing working group, and with all the amazing things that's happening in Austin East, it's essential for us to have a concise marketing strategy that is built off of the community needs. So kind of like going into that question I just asked, like making sure whatever is the best way to communicate with you, we're aligning that with our marketing strategy. So we have recognized in our early stages of Austin Eats the importance of increasing awareness and getting the word out about the initiative, because without the community knowing, then what are we doing? Everything is focused within the community, around the community. So super important for us to have you all in the forefront. So going into just some of the things that we have accomplished over the past couple of years, wanted to start off with the logo. So the logo's at the top of the flyer and also at the bottom of the flyer. So I wanted to make sure that we started our marketing efforts off strong, and we needed to make sure we had a brand. So if someone see this logo, they know where it is. It's not Austin, Texas, it's Austin Eats, and in Chicago. So we wanted to make sure that it was easy to read and notify, kind of like Nike. So we wanted to be recognized around the city of Chicago, so not just Austin. So we hired a local graphic designer to design us this logo that mirrors the feel and look of Austin. So our team decided with the blue because of Chicago, and maroon is a statement color that is often used in the Austin community. And then we have our tagline that says, "Sowing and growing a healthier community," as we aim to convey that our initiative wasn't about starting from scratch, but building upon the existing healthy habits and practices within our community. Our focus was to enhance and expand upon the existing framework and grow it outward, involving more members of the community and promoting healthier lifestyles. So not just saying like, okay, we're starting from scratch, but like, okay, let's see who's the community members and the operations, the businesses that are already doing things. Let's see how we can sow and grow within that. And then we have our monthly flyers, which is on our right side that Grace kind of just talked about too. So we print these, display these flyers on social media, in our email list as well, to spread the word about the events that are happening month by month. Especially when it comes to the summer months, we have a lot of good things going on. So we want to make sure we get as many eyes on these flyers. And a lot of the events range from food giveaways to farmers markets, operate by 40 Acres Market, and a lot of different other organizations within the community that we would love the residents to know about. And to go along with the posting of monthly flyers, we also canvass sometimes around the community during the summer months, so we can actually do some of the best, which is word of mouth marketing, just to talk to residents and get to know them a little bit better and see how we can best support them with these events. Some other things that we have here are like news stories. So collabs, with Fox 32, Block Club Chicago, Austin Weekly News, the city market, so having billboards and signs so people will be able to put them in their yards, on doorsteps and doorbells and things like that, so people can be aware of what's happening within the community. Another thing that we're really working on is building and nurturing relationships with restaurant owners and local schools to adopt a more comprehensive approach towards transforming the food landscape in Austin. So like working closely with these stakeholders to identify like opportunities and things that are happening already in schools and businesses, and seeing how we can promote positive nutrition education around the community. I'm going to head it over to Grace now.
Great. So that is the 5 working groups. And now we just wanted to share a couple ways to get involved or to show up for some of these things. So the first, as Cindy mentioned, volunteer at a community garden. I'm looking forward to doing that this summer. The website, we can drop it in the chat. You can find the RSVP link. There's plenty of options. So yeah, who doesn't want to spend Saturday morning outside in the dirt? That sounds lovely. Secondly, attend the Austin City Farmers Market, Thursdays from 1 to 6, second Thursday of June through the end of October. please come to the farmers market. It's a great time. And it's a really great place to get some high quality produce. Then attend our food and film showcase this July. So we have another film screening event. The date is to be announced, but it's going to be in the mid to end of July. We just selected our film, and it's going to be really great. Our events, they get better every time, more people come every time. So we're really excited to kick this off again this year. Again, please subscribe to the Austin Coming Together newsletter to get the information on that. We'll definitely be sending out those flyers. If you want to just learn more about Austin Eats and share this information with anyone, you can always go to austincomingtogether.org/Austin Eats. And then lastly, if you're super inspired and want to get involved, connect with any of these partners. If you want to support, if you want to donate, if you want to just join us, you can email me. My email is on here and will be in the chat. It's gcooper@austincomingtogether.org. I'd be happy to talk with anyone about getting involved with this initiative. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. Now we can open up for any questions. And yeah, I'll see if there's any questions.
Thank you, Grace, Dearra, and Cindy. That was truly wonderful. Very, very much appreciative for all of the information you shared with us. We've definitely got a few questions. Some very interested people in getting involved and seeing what they can do. There were a few questions that were already answered, but just generally, so we all get a chance to hear them. Erica Helen was wanting to see if she could get a copy of the presentation or a recording of the Hub 101. I can't speak to the copy of the presentation. I will let Austin Eats team talk about that, but there will be a recording of this Hub 101 available on our Facebook pages and also our YouTube page. And if you did register for this event, we will also be sharing that recording out with you via email as well.
Yeah, so definitely the recording, and then if you want a copy of the presentation, I can share that if you send me an email. Hopefully my email is in the chat there.
The other questions, so one, Miss Maria Sorrell wants to know, what are the source of the statistics that were being used for the slides? And if you could share that information as well.
Yeah, actually, I saw that you asked that question, Maria. So I went back to the websites to make sure that we could answer it. So the slide that showed life expectancy, that's from the Center for Disease Control website. So they have this project called USA LEAP, so USALEEP. So if you just type in USA LEAP into your Google bar, you could probably pull that up. I can also, I don't know if there's a way for me to share that in the chat. But there's also just a lot of interesting statistics that are done locally. So like the West Side United website has, percentage of food insecurity, and also the life expectancy ones too, and kind of self-rated health status, so like all of these really interesting metrics about our area. And then also Chicago Health Atlas has a lot of interesting, health statistics. So, and these things I just found by like Googling West Side Chicago health statistics. And yeah, there's quite a bit of reliable sites that come up.
Thank you. And if there are any further questions about that, I believe, again, you can connect with Grace or any of these wonderful ladies from Austin Eats, and they'll happily get you connected with that further information too. One question we've got is where in Chicago is Jehovah Jireh? It looks like they're noting, I think there's a food pantry at 5800 Block Division Street. Does Austin Eats support them as well?
So Jehovah Jireh is on Chicago Avenue. I can't remember the exact address off the top of my head, but I can follow up on that. And can you repeat the address of the other one you mentioned? What block is it?
5800 Block Division Street.
5800. Yeah, I'll have to look up and see which one that is. But if they're not, you know, we're always connecting with new partners. And so if you have contact with them or and want to share my information, or if you want to put the information in the chat and we can reach out to them and see, invite them to join us as well.
Speaking of joining us, I think we've got a question related to that.
Oh, I do know Jehovah Jireh is located 5116 West Chicago Avenue. For the person in the chat that asked that. And, it's for the 5800 Block of Division. I'm not sure if it's a food pantry, but not too far from that is Hope's Food Pantry. It's like a few blocks from there. I'm not sure if you're talking about that one. But next question is, okay, can you share more about the structure of the meetings and work groups? How do you all stay connected and not work in silos? Secondly, are most people involved as volunteers or full-time employees?
I can talk a bit about the meeting structure and that second question. So our meeting structure, we come together once a month. Usually we do it virtually, although we had a couple in-person meetings, which are great. But we come together once a month and we will give updates. There's always a lot of updates to give. And then we'll spend time either planning or talking about a certain issue or a certain project. Sometimes we do that all together. Sometimes we do break out into like working groups to talk through like specific things. And then we'll report back. And that's like our monthly all Austin Eats meeting. Although, especially like in the summertime or when other projects are gearing up, like the film screening, for example, the food education working group will meet separately, you know, on a more frequent basis to outline the planning for those types of events, because there's a lot of work that goes into it. So, yes, but once a month for sure, we all come together. And that does really help with the update section. We'll kind of go like, how's this project going? How's this one going? So everyone's like informed or at least aware of what's going on. And that helps with if there's like any suggestions or room for collaboration. So that's kind of how we try to stay out of, you know, working in silos, which is a great question because that's kind of, you know, the purpose of this initiative is it's a collaboration. And then the question about staff versus volunteers. So no, so Austin Eats doesn't necessarily have any staff. It's a collaborative of people from either other organizations or I guess you could say volunteers if they're coming outside of an organization. They're coming on their own time with their own motivations for working on this mission. Austin Coming Together is the like steward of the quality of life plan. So we just kind of make sure that people are focusing on it. We bring people together to like think about it and make projects for the quality of life plan. So we have a staff, we have a team of 3 on the planning and investment team that are full-time staff. But in terms of Austin Eats, everyone else is coming from their own separate organization. You know, sometimes the work overlaps. So, but if not, yeah, it's I guess you could say it would be volunteer and people coming with their own mission and motivation.
Okay. So it's really just a collaborative of Austin residents who are passionate and caring about this, and those who are involved in Austin who are caring and want to know and do more.
Yeah, and people can be like as involved as they want, or as, you know, it's not like if you come here, you have to execute like 5 projects or something like that. It's like you can come and just, you know, give your opinion, give your advice, and kind of support in whatever way that you can, and you have capacity for. maybe you do want to do 5 projects. Maybe you just want to help work on one. So it's kind of a choose your own adventure.
Yeah, and I know like for recently, like marketing has been a huge piece to this all. So a lot of like community members has just been like, okay, I want to make sure that I'm on that, like every step of the way, like every meeting we have, I want to make sure I'm in marketing. So yeah, it depends just what you are looking to implement and what your capacity is for these projects as well.
And can you, just to kind of reiterate, I know you went over it during the PowerPoint, but can you kind of go back over different ways that residents could be involved, even if they're not wanting to maybe come to all of the monthly meetings or whatever? What are some things that they can do to impact this?
Well, definitely.
I always like to say, come volunteer at the community gardens on Saturdays. But you know, there's also just a lot of kind of, you know, like community engagement meetings around this issue that come up from time to time. So and that takes keeping in tune with what's going on in the community. So, you know, for example, like the Austin Coming Together, you know, like weekly, you know, email blast tells us, you know, oh, there's going to be a meeting with so-and-so to discuss this topic, or, you know, and so I think that like one of the most important things is just to care about it and to stay engaged and to keep your eyes open for different opportunities, because whenever these opportunities come up, we need to hear from everyone in the community. So, which is a lot of people.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, definitely subscribe to the emails and come to the events, come to the film screenings. It's a great way to get involved, to meet people in Austin Eats and just kind of start learning about like what kind of things we do and how you can get involved. Also, that list of partners. If you go to the Austin Eats website, there is a list of the partners on there too. If there's anyone that you're familiar with or you're particularly drawn to, you know, can reach out to any of the individual partners and see if you can volunteer or get involved with their work too. Because yeah, again, Austin Eats isn't like an organization, it's a collaborative. So we only exist because we're a bunch of different people. So that's a good way to just see which of those working groups, which of those partners is the most interesting, and try to get involved through them as well. But definitely come to the events, definitely volunteer on the Saturdays, come to the farmers market, spread the word, share. I saw this really great presentation. Did you know that we have a farmers market? I didn't even know that. Get your neighbors aware of the things that we're working on and sharing the monthly flyer. Marketing is a huge one because yeah, we can do all these things, but if no one knows about it, then it's not really having the impact that we want it to have. So helping with marketing is great. Yeah.
So biggest way to help out, just get the word out there.
I don't know if it's the biggest way, it's definitely a great way. It definitely helps because yeah, again, that's where the impact comes, when people know about it and take advantage of the resources. So.
Yeah, it's like last year when we would go to the farmers market, you know, we were always encouraged, bring a friend, bring a neighbor, you know, so just kind of like asking a neighbor to come along engages them in the issue. Obviously, like, you know, where we spend our money makes a difference, you know, so if we continue to spend our money in Oak Park and River Forest, then, you know, these new initiatives are going to have a hard time making it, you know, but like produce at the farmers market is very affordable. It's, you know, like 40 acres sells it at a good price, you know, and so I think there's a lot of opportunities for us to shop locally and to help bring, you know, these resources to our community that way.
I would also say too, don't be afraid of the monthly meetings. Like if you're a resident or even a person that is just passionate about food justice in Austin, like join us. It's only an hour and a half once a month. So again, reach out to me, and my email is in the chat, and I can send you the link to that. But Yeah, that's
When
the biggest way to get involved, I guess I would say.
when is the next meeting currently scheduled for?
Let me check. It's on Tuesday, late afternoons. The next one is
4 to 5:30.
the next one would be, sorry. The 5th, June 6th, actually.
June 6, 4 to 5:30.
All right, and then actually, Cindy, I wanted to ask kind of a follow-up question to something you were saying about 40 acres, prices being very good, and their produce being pretty great. And I think you mentioned this earlier, but you can use SNAP and link benefits at the farmers market, correct? Okay.
Yeah, others know more about that than I do. But yeah, but you can.
Mhm.
And okay, someone and in the chat wants to know why no mention of the Harambe Garden.
Yeah, I mean, so like I said, we have 25 community gardens in Austin, and Harambe is a large garden. But we also want to highlight that there are other large gardens as well throughout the community. And so part of the beauty of it is that there's a variety. They're on, a variety of blocks, so dispersed throughout the community. I'd say the north part is of Austin is probably the most lacking, but thankfully the Mildred Wiley horticultural garden opened up there just a couple years ago. So so there's and if you're interested in getting like a plot at a community garden, there may be one that's close by to you. So Harambe is one that has plots for community members. I don't know if they have any spaces this year. Maria, who's in there, she might want to be able to say so in the chat. That's a great way to start growing your own food and to learn how to garden, is just to get a plot at a community garden. And that's also affordably priced by a lot of the gardens.
Do those plots, you don't have to pay anything for those plots, correct? They're free?
It depends on the garden. It depends. Yes. I think that there may be some, that offer them for free, to, people on the surrounding blocks. But I know, like, I think for Harambe, they had like a minimal amount that people have to pay to be a part of the community garden. So.
And do the Garden Collective, do you all host any workshops or trainings on gardening?
Good question. Yeah, so there's a variety of workshops that end up happening through the summer months. The PCC Farm, for example, will usually host about 3 seminars during the summer. And then also, now with the Mildred Wiley Horticultural Garden, they have done, various seminars. So we kind of keep, so it's always, at this time, this is the time when the gardens are kind of planning those things. So we keep track of when those things are happening. And as soon as I hear about them, I put those events on our website, so that people can know about that. But, also there are things as we hear about them, we put them in the Austin Eats monthly flyers if we know they're going on, and then I think, Austin Coming Together also will post it in their weekly email blast. So.
Okay, so kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of some of the more database things you had mentioned. Cindy, earlier you had mentioned that Austin residents spend a lot of their income over in Oak Park, specifically when it comes to the grocery stores. Do any of you know, are there any current collaborations with the town of Oak Park through Austin Eats to address that concern or those conversations? And are there any ways that are currently being worked on to maybe go like fix it, or what does that currently look like?
So not necessarily a collaboration with the like town, like the official, like I guess government of Oak Park, but there are members of Austin Eats that are Oak Park organizations. So there's like Beyond Hunger, Takeout 25 has reached out to Austin Eats. So we definitely do get support from Oak Park as literally just being a part of this initiative as well. And I know there is maybe some talk about collaboration between the farmers markets that's being investigated, but yeah, that's definitely a good question. And we do have some Oak Park representation supporting Austin Eats. We actually also had 2 fundraisers last year that we didn't organize, but one was by Takeout 25 and one was the Food Aid Festival that took place in Oak Park at the School of Rock. And so both of those were fundraisers, and they raised funds that they donated to Austin Eats. Yeah, we get some love from Oak Park.
Okay. So collaborations are going on and conversations are happening.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we've got a couple more. I think we've got time for 2 more.
Okay, let's see. All right. Is there a targeted date or year where residents of Austin could expect some of these food insecurities to be resolved?
Yeah, so we're in the for the Austin Quality of Life Plan, Austin Forward Together. We're in the 5th year of the plan. And it's a 5-year plan, but that does not mean that that at the end of this plan in the coming calendar year that any of this is going to stop. So we at Austin Eats just got started on this initiative about 2 years ago, and yeah, and we feel like we're just gaining momentum, and we're going to keep going and keep focused on these issues in terms of addressing like overall food insecurity. So actually, when Maria asked her question about statistics, I pulled up the West Side United page, and so Austin, like right now, so the percentage of the population in Austin that experiences food insecurity, according to West Side United, is 26.5%. So that's almost, I mean, that's more than a quarter of the population that, is wondering where, at least a meal is coming from, if not all meals, right? So that's a lot to address. And I wouldn't say that that's abnormal to, like looking at the overall US. I mean, in Chicago, there's neighborhoods that have more like 37%. There's also areas that are down closer to 13%. So it's not, kind of the middle, but it's a little bit above the middle for Chicago. So, I think it's something that is just going to continually need to be addressed, and we need to continually look at it in new ways. Part of what we're trying to do is, address the issue of emergency food, but also address the issues of, the market for, food that you buy, right? And trying to make changes, on a whole scale. And so that's going to take a while, and, but it's not something we're going to, give up on. We're going to keep working at it with all of these partners, and, and the hope is to see that number go down to something that, and in a way that even the people who have food insecurity are getting their needs met in some ways, right? So I don't know if that answers the question. We can never say when it's going to be, the majority of it will be met, but but we're gonna keep working at it.
No, completely understood. Completely understood. It's food insecurity is definitely something that is always going to be something, but to hear that there's a group such as Austin Eats making it a point to not only educate community members, but also engage them and involve them in this process is huge and awesome. And as a part of that, we've only got one question, or time enough for one last question. So I just wanted to pose really quickly to all three of you, what is one of your favorite things about Austin Eats, and what is one of your favorite ways to be involved with it?
I love the film events. Because it's not just films, it's food. and they're often outside in a garden, and just kind of the community aspect of getting a whole bunch of people together. So
you took my answer. I was gonna say my favorite
you
thing
should have gone first.
My favorite thing about Austin Eats, I think, is like the relationships that we've built throughout this time, and definitely getting to know new people and being inspired by really the hard work that people are doing and the passion that people have is my favorite part of it. My favorite way to be involved, the film screenings are a lot of fun. There's always good food. Being outside is great, and there's just good conversation. They're like very well-rounded events. So that's one that came to mind. But I also love going to the farmers market and seeing people there, and being able to get high quality produce. They have really good produce at the farmers market. So there's just a couple things.
My favorite thing will possibly be the motivation I can just tell that everyone has. Like when we get into these meetings, it's like, we're sharing updates, but I can tell the excitement that everyone has. Like, we're doing something. Like this problem that Austin has had for so long, we're all coming together to share that we're all implementing and putting our best foot forward with this. And now we can share out to everyone that we know. So I really love that, and just being in community with people who are so motivated. And then definitely the film screening, because I can just feel holding space with our community members and just having conversation. That's the best way to really get to the root of things, just having conversation and storytelling and getting to know each other and building that momentum and getting more people involved. You can't really do that if you don't really get that genuine connection with people, because then they're going to be like, well, I can be in and out with this or whatever. But when you finally get that very strong connection, that genuine connection, people don't want to leave. They want to keep going, and want to be a part of whatever Austin Eats is doing. So I think that's what's really motivating, is something that I really like, especially the food. I mean, Michelle, love her. So definitely just trying new foods and things like that, and getting out of my area of vegan food that I make at home. So a lot of different aspects that I love about it.
All right.
Cool. Well, I have to say, I love the Austin's Farmers Market and vegan treats. It's my favorite. I can't wait till the market starts.
That's my Thursday go-to lunch.
Absolutely.
But I think that's all the time we have today. And I think that is all the time we have today. So first of all, I just want to give a big thank you to all three of you wonderful, incredible ladies. You did a great job with your workshop. It was beautiful. Workshop presentation. It was beautiful. We were talking about workshops, and that's where my mind's at. I'm looking forward to attending one of the gardening ones. To all you Austin residents who are also interested, hope to see you there. Again, if you are interested in getting in contact with any of these wonderful ladies, I believe Grace, we are putting your email out as the main one, and then she can get you connected with and where you need to go from there for Austin Eats. Thank you all so much, and we look forward to talking to you all soon.
Thank you for having us.